All right, guys, today we got a 2012 Dodge Caravan 3.6 liter intermittent no start, got towed in. Let's get into it. All right, we're in the car. I want to show you all what it's doing. Come over to the key. We got the key in here, and it just does nothing. The dashboard lights up. We do have a check engine light. Just obviously just the bulb checks are happening. Looks like everything's coming on. All the warning indicators are doing their bulb check properly and everything. We just have no start. So let's go in here and see what we got. See if we can't get into anything or what we can or can't get into. Let's go to Dodge. Got an update available. Mess with that later. All right. Let's go automatic selection. Let's see if we can't read a VIN. Which usually gives us a good indication on most vehicles. This is going to pull from either the gateway or the engine control module. Most vehicles are engine control module. So, okay, so right off the bat we know we can't get in there. All right, let me see if I can't get a VIN here real quick. So we went into our database and got it. We didn't want to show the client's information, so this is the VIN. All I've done is typed it in manually, and then we're going to just hit OK. Let it decode it. Still got the key on. Everything's just like it was. All right, let's see what we can get into here. Hopefully we can get into something. Diagnosis. Let's go to auto scan. Let's see what kind of models are talking or not talking here. Definitely getting some response. Nice. All right, we got fault codes out the wazoo. This is no start.
It's no start?
Yeah, was that what it's doing right here? Just the complaint was you go to crank it and it won't do anything. Okay. Yeah. I think it's intermittent, but it's happening right now. So one thing I see right off the bat, we've got, I don't see the transmission control module, and I don't see the engine control module. Got analog brakes, gateway, door stuff, instrument cluster, AC. Alright, let's see what this thing is. Let's see what these codes are showing here. Let's see what we got. Because if we don't have, well, I mean, obviously we don't have engine control module, we're not going to be able to start if we don't have transmission. This is actually probably, this is the transmission engine control module in one. So this is a PCM, not an ECM. So there's that. Okay, so we've got one right here, lost communication. What's that in? That's in the central gateway. Alright. Window switch stuff. Don't worry about that. Not worried about that. Configuration data. That's in the airbag. Configuration data. Alright, that's always nice. Lost communication. ECM, PCM, active. Implausible data, active. Does this have a transmission control module? That's going to be... Okay. Alright, well, looks like we have no communication with ECM, PCM, with PCM on this car, I'm sure. We'll have to look it up and see. You know what, I just want to do a little research here real quick. I want to see if this thing has got a transmission control module that's separate. I don't think it does, but you know what? Hey, I guarantee that I've worked on many of these cars. I should know this off the top of my head, but you know what? We shouldn't go by what we know off the top of our head. We should always check the data. We should always check the service information. We should always see if what we're doing is going in the right direction and not wasting our time. Because how many times have we wasted time going down paths and then realize, well, this thing isn't even equipped with that. So let's see if we go in here and let's go and to engine control module. So right here it's listed as engine control module, description and operation. So PCM, sorry everybody, PCM. Let's go to description. Let's see, powertrain control module. I mean, it's powertrain control module, so it's got the transmission control module in it. Various adjusting engine and vehicle operations to devices. Okay. PCM users can't see. Okay. Let's go back. Let's go back over to this. Let's go to operation. All right. When? Yep. Okay. So this is just telling you. Key start. Okay. Transmits. PCM. Fuel injector. Alright, let's look it down through the inputs here. Transmission, transmission, transmission. A bunch of inputs on that. Adjust this. Okay, idle speed, injector pulse width, ignition timing, PCM sensor outputs, transmission solenoid. So this thing controls the transmission. Now, I know right now that a lot of you guys are like, what's a PCM, man? I mean, you know, why are you taking so long to even determine that? Well, I want to be 100% sure. Because what if it's got something different in this car? I mean, obviously it's a 2012 Caravan. We may all know that this is a PCM. I would be 100% sure. We don't have communication with a PCM, TCM. And this thing actually said in here, at one point somewhere in here, it said lost communication with TCM. Let's see here, right here. I mean, this is in the analog brake module, and it says lost communication with ECM, PCM, lost communication with TCM. You know, and then it says implausible data reached from ECM, PCM. So let's just be 100% sure that we're going down the right path. Do we have 2 modules not talking or 1? In this case, we got 1 module not talking. Obviously, it's pretty important to make the car start. So we got no communication with the engine control module. All right, we're done with that. We spent enough time talking about it. You guys know how I am about this. Get the information and read it and know it. Now we're going to move on, and we're going to find out. We're going to find out what's wrong with this car. All right, so let's go ahead. I'm going to go in here real fast. I know we're not going to be able to do this. Well, it's not even listed on here, so I'm not going to be able to get in the engine control module. All right, so we're done with that. Let's determine where the engine control module is located. Okay, powertrain control module. Let's talk about the right terminology. So let's find out where it's located. And then we will go get it and access it. Let's see here. Well, these are the connectors for it. All right, so that's down in the fender well. Okay, that's down in the fender well. All right, so it's going to be in the left front fender well. All right, let me get to that and get access to it, and then we're going to do see what it looks like, see what the connectors look like, see if it's plugged in. I mean, I don't know. Who knows? Let's see if the wiring harness is intact, and then we'll go from there. So let me get the access to that. We'll be right back. We got access to it. We just pulled the fender liner back just a little bit, got it out of the way. Everything's plugged in. A little loose there, but yeah, I mean, the connectors aren't loose. The module seems a little bit sketchy. But yeah, it's in. Connectors are in. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to look up a wiring diagram. I'm going to get a pin out of these connectors, right? So we know we don't have communication with this thing. I'm going to do a pin out of these connectors. We're going to see if we can't get them apart, get in there, and see if we've got communication. This is what I do when we don't have communication with a module. We don't want to overcomplicate this, okay? What do we got to have? Powers, grounds, and communication lines. That's what we got to have to communicate with it. You can take this module, put it on a bench. You can put power and ground to it and communication lines, and you can talk to a scanner with it. Don't overcomplicate it. So we're going to look up the wiring diagram on this thing and the pin out of these connectors. Let's find out what pins we need to get into, get the connectors apart, where I can get access to the pins, and then we're going to come back and we'll get the scope hooked up. We're going to do it with a scope. We're going to see what we've got it going into it with it hooked up, and then we're going to load it. And we're going to load it with we'll show you what we're going to load it with. It's just going to be a light bulb, but we'll show you. All right, we've got everything hooked up. I want to show you guys, come on in here, let me show you what we got. We'll show you that we have everything hooked up. So we've got our grounds, we've got our power, another ground, and then we've got our communication lines. So something that I feel like is, a lot of times it is a trouble or difficult for
younger techs or newer techs or something is figuring out where all the pins are and what wires go to what. And I mean, obviously there's a lot of wires in here, and some of them got a lot more than this. So it's something that I've been doing for a very, very long time. I used to do it on paper, but let me show you what we've got. So let me minimize this down. So this is our wiring diagram for this vehicle. I'm not going to sit there and go through it. I mean, you guys get it. You've seen me do this 1,000 times. You know, I would just go through, find all my connections, you know, powers and grounds and things on here. Now, one thing I will say that for younger guys, and I know a lot of the guys that are on here, you're seasoned techs, and you know this, but younger guys, just, and I think I've said this in a previous video, here's a PCM over here. One of the connectors is on here. I think that's a C2. So, you know, you see all this. Yep, this is C2. Okay. And then if we go to the other side, if I go all the way over, and I can do that. I mean, I hate to waste y'all's time, but let's go ahead and just go all the way over. Let's just cover all the bases. So, again, we're going to look for, I mean, on that side, I will tell you, you won't find any powers and grounds. So then you're like, well, where the heck are they? Well, here they are right here. Here's our grounds. And what I did originally was I went ahead and highlighted all these, found them all, where they went to. But here's our CAN bus. Here's our CAN bus. There's a power feed. But this is connector C1, okay? Now, one of the other things is, you see there's one over here, one on this side, and one on that side, okay? And then there's also, if you're looking for something and you don't find it, okay, well, you're looking, let's say you're looking for a certain pinout. Well, here's actually on this one, here it is. Here's our battery feed right here. So here's another powertrain control module. It's the same powertrain control module, guys. This is just one unit, the one you just looked at underneath the fender, and this is two connectors, and this is 3 spots on the wiring diagram that they are. So you have to remember that wiring diagrams are not drawn for our convenience. They're drawn for the convenience of the person drawing the diagram. So many times we'd have to look on here to find something. I did to find this. So now here's what I did. So we do that. We get all that. We kind of know what everything is. We come over here. We find the connector view. Here's the connector view. So here's a real nice pin out of it. You're looking at it this way, and I'm going to show you how I determine that, because for years it was always like, you know, am I looking at it pin on, or am I looking at it from the harness on, right? So, and I don't know, I had to go back in memory, and you guys can leave a comment down below for all of you guys, but I don't know if some manufacturers do it pin, some manufacturers do it wire from the harness side, but I always like to just prove it out. So the first thing I would do is I would find pin number 1, okay, on the connector. I would go get the wire color, dark green and white. I would go on that connector and find that dark green and white wire on that I know is going to be on the corner, okay? And then I would go to the opposite corner and I would find the number 24, and I know it's dark blue and orange, okay? And if I do that, then I know if I find those 2 wires and I know where this one is, where this one is, and I can look at the connector and then I can go, okay, this is the direction it goes in. I'm looking at it from the pin side, or this is the direction it goes in. I'm looking at it from the harness side as I'm looking at this diagram. It's just something. I mean, you're going to be you're going to be pinning things out. You're going to be touching wires. We're going to be loading wires with this. We want to be sure that we are on the correct thing. So now here's something. You're sitting here looking at this, and you're trying to scroll back and forth, and okay, well, you know, I need to find these grounds. Well, where are these grounds? 49, 50, 51, 52, 53, 54, right? Is that right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yes. 53, I'm sorry. 49, 50, 51, 52, 53. Okay? We're not doing the sensor ground 54. Don't do that. So, and I'm going to come up here and I'm going to try to find those. Well, here's 1 through 24, and then I'm counting this one, and then I'm counting this one, okay? So here's what I do. I take this, and this is what I used to do with paper. I used to print this out. And then I would take colored pencils, and I did not come up with the colored pencils things. We'd also used to do that on the wiring diagrams. This was, I believe, Carlos Menchu from AESWave actually kind of came up with this, and he taught a class on it years ago. I don't know if he still teaches that, But give him full credit on this, that he's the one that kind of came up with the colored pencils things. So now we're all on tablets, and we don't print out paper anymore. And okay, so what do? Well, we take it, we copy it, and we shove it into Word. All right, so here's the same thing. You see there's no connector there because it doesn't like to bring over the actual pictures. That's okay, we can bring that in. And here's the same thing we were just looking at. So all we're doing is I'm going to go down and I'm going to find all the pinouts that I want. So there's can C. I'm going to color it. You guys pick your colors, right? Just make sure you're consistent with it. Ground, there's my grounds, right? There's my can C again, positive. Another ground. I marked the ASD control output. I thought I might look at that. I don't think I want to look at that, maybe. And then here's our fuse. There's the one we had on that other connector. So there's our main battery feed, okay? And then I come down and I've got the connector on here, and I've actually numbered it. So I've counted, okay, there's 1 through 24, here's 25. And I don't know why I didn't put that one. Oh, this thing moved. How did that get like this? Somehow this got moved. This is 72. I don't know why the 48 got moved over here. 48 is going to go right there. All right. So, but I'll sit there and do that. Just marking it on here. Oh my gosh, guys, I'm sorry. I'm messing this thing all up. Here we go. All right. And that way you're not guessing about what pin is where. You know, you've got it written down. You can look at it. It's just, a lot of guys are really, really good. They're a lot smarter than me. They're a lot quicker with their eyes than me. And they're going to be able to do this, go over there and go, okay, 25, I got it. They're going to be able to get this stuff. I'm real, you know, I'm not the sharpest tool in the shed, so, you know, I'll go ahead and get this done and know that 100% I know before I connect anything to that harness, before I connect anything to that connector, before I touch anything to a wire, I know I'm on the right wire. Because, believe me, we've all made mistakes and we've all let the smoke out, and it's hard to put the smoke back in. So this is how I recommend you guys doing it. Or old school, print it out, get used to it, draw your wiring diagram out, draw your pin out on this, and take it over to the car. I use a tablet. I've got this here for you guys so that you guys could see it over here. I'm in the Kingsland store, so I don't have a big monitor over here, but we wanted to have it where you guys could see it. But if I'm doing this, I'm just got this over by the car, and I'm just holding it there, and I'm just looking at it, and I'm able to move around. So that's that part of it. Let's get back into diagnosing the car. We've got everything hooked up. We've got we're gonna need a ignition person. Let me go get that person. I'll be right back. We've got our favorite key turner in the car. We got everything hooked up. We're gonna go ahead and see what we can see here. Remember, this thing is intermittent, so hopefully it won't start. Go ahead, little cook, try to start it. You trying? Okay, so he's trying to start it, and there's nothing. All right, so let's pause that. Okay, so we can see we've got communication. Here's our power. All right, so our power is good. Here's our grounds. Now, what you would be looking here is if the power had a voltage drop, then this is easy. The voltage drop would cause it to drop. That's easy to understand, okay? And you'd see that, and we're going to see that in a minute because I know when I load this thing that this thing is going to drop a little bit. It should anyway, but the ground, you have to think about it the same way, except it's going to go up. If you have a voltage drop on the ground, the voltage is going to rise, okay? So, and here's our communication. So let's go ahead, not that I need to see too much on here. I can see that it's there. I can see that the voltages look good. 3.8, about 2.5 in the middle, 1.5 here, so 3.5-ish, 2.5-ish, 1.5-ish. That looks good to me. So I don't have any problem with that. All right, so let's go back over. Let's start it again. Now let's go load these things. All right, you can turn the key off. I'm going to move this over to the big screen. All right, can you see that? We good? All right. You got the key off? All right. Here's what I've got. Let me get the other stool. Around on it. All right. I've got this light from Jarhead Diagnostics. All that is a headlight bulb with a little connector on it. It does a good job there. And I've got this hooked up to battery negative, okay? So I'm gonna put this on the positive, and we're gonna watch that yellow trace to see what it does, okay? And it should light this light up. That trace should drop a little bit, but we're gonna see how far it does drop. Now I will tell you, this is a pretty good load. This is probably more than I need to put on here, but it's only got one battery feed in here. So, you know, this thing is, and this is a transmission control module too. So, and it may have, with that ASD, I think it's got some feedback coming back into it, but more than likely this feeds most everything. So I'm gonna go ahead and do this, and it shouldn't drop too much. You know, maybe 2-3 tenths of a volt, something like that. So all I'm gonna do is, and I've lost my light, left it too long. I am gonna come in here, and I'm gonna touch. So I'm just gonna touch the yellow. I can't do it without the light, guys, I'm sorry. I'm just gonna touch the pin right here. Actually, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna pull this back a little bit, that way you guys can see it. All I'm doing, okay, so I'm just pulling it back right here, and I'm just gonna touch it here. Okay, and there's the light. So the light's lit up. All right, and there's our drop right there. Okay, so I'm gonna undo it, put it back on again. You can see it again. All right, now we're gonna pause it. Let's pause it and measure it. Okay. Another good feature if I haven't shown it to you, you can start and stop the deep record with the pen if you're on a Microsoft Surface. Okay, so let's measure this. All right, that's pretty much already sitting where I want, right about there. So I'm sitting about right about here, okay. And we can see we got a maintainer on it. That's about 14.169. And then what we're gonna do is, we don't need to come all the way down here. That's just a tiny little, one little blip there. We're just gonna come in about midway from where that voltage drop is happening. So probably about right in here. And I can tell you this is good by looking at it, but right here. So we're roughly, what, 2.5 tenths, something like that. Little over 2 tenths, a little under 3 tenths, right in that area. So halfway through. There's nothing wrong with that. That's perfectly good. This is a like I say, that light is 4.1 amps. So that's a pretty good amount of load to put on that. So I'm happy with that. I got no issue with that. Let's go ahead now and let's do the ground side. So now what I'm going to do, I don't want to confuse anything. So let's go ahead and swap these around. I don't want anybody to get confused. I'm now going to take, I could have just taken this black lead, moved it over to the positive side of the battery, and then touch this, but I just don't want to confuse anybody. Now I'm taking the red lead and I'm putting it on the battery. Okay? And if I touch, the negative, light's going to light up. I'm on the negative battery post, so I'm going to cross the battery. There we go. All right. So now I'm going to do the same thing I did with the power. Now I'm going to do the grounds. Now, these are smaller wires on the ground. I probably don't need this much of a load. These are definitely, because there's so many grounds here, and they do all go back to the same spot. I did not look for where that spot was. I just looking on the wiring diagram, but it said at the base of the D pillar, which is at the very back of the car, which kind of made me think a little bit why they would do that, but it is what it is. I'm gonna go ahead and touch these now, and here, all I'm gonna do is touch them to these. I got these with the piercing probes here, so I'm just gonna touch each one, okay? So, got that one. I'm gonna try to do a couple of them, then go over and read them. That one. That one. That one. And that one's gonna be not wanting me to do it. All right, stop it. All right, so I stopped it with the pen. That helped me because I wasn't gonna get here. All right, here's our voltage drops here. So every one of them, you can see, had a little inrush and then it stopped. So let's go ahead, and you can see it also affected the power a little bit. Normal, perfectly normal. I'm gonna do this, come up here. Let's go ahead. I want to bring this down to ground. Let's just go ahead and zero that one. And then I'm going to bring this one here. So, okay. So all I'm doing right now is just going through the center. I mean, they're all exactly the same. You can see that. That blue's a little bit different. So we're looking at a half a volt on that, on those wires, pulling that large load on it, pulling that 4.1 amp load on it. I'm okay with that. A lot of guys are going to say, no, you're only supposed to have 210s, whatever. Okay, hang on, let me grab something. If I'm using this bulb, okay, then I would agree with you. We could actually use this bulb if I wanted to. If I could hook it up quick enough. I had to get the wiring for it. If I use this bulb and I do the same exact test, it's going to be, I think these are 1.5 amps or 1.2 amps. So it's going to be roughly half of that. And this is what I would normally use on the battery, on those lines. I'm perfectly fine with this though. I know from experience that this is fine. This is not going to be an issue. So right now the powers and the grounds are testing good. So, and if I want to reiterate this, guys, this is a voltage drop. What you're seeing, that rise, that is a voltage drop. Let me turn off. Let's just look at one of them. Let's just look at the white. So all I'm going to do is turn off all the other. I don't need to turn that one off. Turn off the blue. Turn off the purple. Brown. There. Nope. Get that one off. Okay. There's our voltage drop right here. Boop. Okay. Now I touched it and took it right back off again. Okay. You won't always see a voltage drop that looks like that. I mean, this was me connecting it and not connecting it. I mean, that almost looks like, some people would say, that looks like something turned on or turned off or a solenoid or something. Yeah, because I did that. Boom, boom. Okay, that's what that is. Boom, boom. But a lot of times a voltage drop will just rise. You know, it'll have jaggedy lines and rise. It may be constantly high. If we're off of ground all the time, right? If we're raised up off of ground, that's a voltage drop. Okay, we should be really, really close to ground. Okay, while it's loaded. So this is as loaded as that ground will ever be, because there are 5 grounds on this thing. I think there's actually 6 grounds on this thing. So, and I did the other ground is we can do that one too, but which I already did that other ground. So we're okay there. This is what you're looking for, the voltage drop on a ground, is it rises. Okay, this is when I put the load on it. It's the exact opposite of when you're doing power. When you're doing a power and you pull a load, it drops down. So that's just, you just got to think that way. Negative is up, that's a voltage drop. Positive is down, that's a voltage drop. Okay. So we know this module's got power to it. We know this module's got good grounds to it. I know there were a couple other grounds that I didn't show you on here. I did test those grounds, so this thing's got all the grounds going into it. Everything's good there, the power's good, and the communication lines are good, and the car won't start, the vehicle won't start. So we know this module is bad. So now I know a lot of people are commenting that they want to see the whole repair, they want to see it all the way to the end. So what we're going to do is we're going to see if we can't get a module for this thing, talk to the client, authorize the work, and then we're going to try to take this thing all the way to the end for you guys. Hopefully the client says, yeah, let's go ahead and do it. So if they do, we're going to come back and we'll be putting a module in it, and we'll show you how we finish it all the way to the end. So hopefully we'll see in a bit. We called Chrysler to try to get a new module. They said they had it. Then they called us right back after we'd gotten off the phone, started working up the estimate, and said, oh, whoops, no, we don't have it. They're on international back order. We run into that a lot with Chrysler for some reason. I don't know what the deal is, but they tell you they got it, and then they tell you they don't have it. Luckily, we hadn't gotten a hold of the client and done all that and said we'd have it. So we were able to go down. We got one out of Jacksonville, which is only about an hour from here. So we were able to get a used one. Okay, so we got the used one in. And so we this is all happening pretty fast right now. So, but I want to show you guys what I do when I put a used module in. If it's been from a salvage yard or something like that, I don't know, the pin connections and things. I want to be sure we got good connection. So this is Stabilant 22. You can get this. Amazon sells it. Parts stores sell it. It's a little less expensive off of Amazon. Part number is a standard SL5. All right, it is quite expensive. this little bottle, and I'll show you what it is. That runs, depending on where you buy it from, that's going to be anywhere from $80 to $120 for that little bottle, okay? So be easy with it. But I will tell you right now, this thing is, I don't know what's in this. I don't need to know. It's crazy good. So it comes with little brushes. Side note, I have fixed countless airbag connection issues with this. So you get an airbag light on, it says something about the resistance in a circuit is high. You can go on and look at the PIDs and see what resistance it is. Go to that circuit, unplug the connection on it, put a little bit of this on it, plug it back in. I mean, I'll tell you, I fixed them and they've never come back. And the resistance, obviously we're not checking resistance on an airbag circuit. Please don't do that. The system will test itself, but this stuff will fix them. I can't tell you how many. So as a precursor to make sure that we don't have any issues, I'm going to take this and I'm just going to get a little bit on there. Oh man. And I'm just going to put it on these pins. It does not take a lot. So I'm just going in and just paint brushing it on them. And this way, this will make good connection. If there's any kind of little bit of questionable, again, I don't know what's in this stuff. All I know is this bad boy will fix connection issues. I mean, obviously it's not going to fix something. If you got green stuff all over it, this isn't going to fix that, guys. So you got to get that stuff cleaned and do whatever you got to do. But you got something that looks good, this stuff will do its thing and will help you not have comebacks and help you fix connection issues. So we're just going to put this on.
So we can program the use module?
Yeah, so the use module on this vehicle, this is not something that can be done in a normal instance. So the VIN number is in this module. Now, depending on the system in this vehicle, there might be some different things we have to do to get this module to work. But I'm going to show you. That's all you got to do on that, by the way. And the cameraman almost just took a spill. That was a good save right there. It might be some different things we got to do to make this work, but we're going to get it back over to the vehicle. I'm going to get it bolted back in, and I am going to get the IM608 hooked up to it, and then we'll show you what we got to do to get this thing programmed in. We got the new module installed. I had to take some time to fix the connectors. Those of you that have done Chrysler module connectors before know that those things can be finicky. So I've cleaned them all up really good. We've got the wire tie around the harness. We've got the tape on there. Everything is good. So it's in. We've got we come here. We can see that we've got a flashing red security light. If we try to start the vehicle, it's going to start and shut off. Okay, so we know there's a problem with security. No big deal. Let's see if we can't figure this out. So hang on, I'm gonna go. Let me show you where I'm going. So the IM608. I think that Top Don could do this. I'm not sure. I've never done it with Top Don. I should try it because we really do like Top Don. I should try to do something with this. Sometimes we get in a hurry. We're trying to fix the car. We're trying to do a video, and using a new tool sometimes is not conducive to that. So, but we will. But I'm sure this one will do it. So here's how we're going to do it. We're going to go into, and just so everybody knows, this is something that we couldn't get a new module, not gettable from Chrysler, according to Chrysler anyway. So a Chrysler dealership would just say we can't fix this car. Okay, I don't know of any Chrysler dealerships that's going to do what we're about to do. So those of you that have this tool or are looking at buying this tool or a Top Don tool, you know, this is something that you could put into your arsenal and say, hey, we can do that. We can put a used module in this car where most places won't be able to do it. So you can definitely be a hero. So, all right, so let's go in here. We're going to immobilizer. All right, we're going to go to Dodge. Let's go to automatic selection. Okay. Let's see if it's going to get in here. All right, it's a fob-it key. So the fob-it key has got, you know, looks like a Mercedes key. It's got all your push buttons and everything on it. So
Go with that. Okay. Off, on. Okay. All right, so this is the password. We don't have to save that password. The tool's going to save it inside of it. All right. Let's go in here and just do a scan of the immobilizer system. Let's see what it comes up with. We should get codes in here for some kind of password codes, I'm sure. All right, if you have to learn key, okay, we're good there.
Password thing.
Well, there's got to be a password between like whichever module. In this case, probably going to be the WCM module and the powertrain control module. You know, they have talked to each other. So, and we can actually look here. So we got WCM. Secret key sent to engine controller, WCM, no. Normal mode, screen, normal status. Pin successfully programmed, yes. So that stuff's in the WCM, okay. If we go into the WCM, let's look at what the codes are in it. ECM mismatch. So that's our problem, is right now we've got an ECM mismatch issue, which we 100% knew we were going to have that because they're not going to do no good to erase those codes. If we go into the PCM, let's see what we've got in there. O2 sensor, invalid. I don't know, O2 sensor slow response and invalid sentry key on the same code, so yeah, who knows. All right, so we're gonna go out of this. We're gonna go out of this. We're gonna go, no, we're not going there, I'm sorry. We're going into control unit. We're going to immobilizer module replacement. Powertrain control module was replaced. We could check the pin, but it's going to be wrong. All right, so this is just going to walk you through exactly, you know, if you're going to do this, you need to be sure that that you want to do this. Let me silence my phone here. All right, so change the VIN directly. If you want to change the VIN directly, go to module replacement. Yep. Okay, so we're here. All right. Use it only if the powertrain control module has been replaced. Engine must be in the run position. So if you do this wrong, you could possibly ruin keys, but we know we're going to be all right. All right, there's the pin. We got it. We know that's the correct pin. It already pulled it. It is correct. Okay, so current VIN in the wireless control module is that. I just want to double check that. That's why I took a picture of it. 40969, 40969. Yep, so that's correct. All right. So and that should be because that's in the WCM and that's in the vehicle. So we didn't do anything with that. So now it's going to write the VIN to the PCM. All right. The PCM, it was written to it. Now, if I'm thinking about this right, this vehicle will probably start right now. I just don't know if that light's going to go out, if the security light's going to go out. Well, let's find out. Let it do its thing. Cycle the ignition key before starting the vehicle. Okay, so we're going to cycle the key. And, okay. All right, so it's running, but look what we've got. We've got the security lights on, okay? So we're going to get rid of that problem, all right? So we're gonna go out of that. All right, so we're gonna have to go out of here. I wonder if we can do it in here. No, we can't do it, we were just there. All right, so we're gonna have to go all the way back out. So we're gonna back all the way out of here. All right, let's go there, yes. Let's go here. We're gonna go to diagnostics. We're gonna go to Dodge. And we're gonna go automatic. All right, it should read the VIN now. It should be the correct VIN in the PCM. That is correct VIN, so good. which it wouldn't start if it didn't have the correct VIN in the PCM. So, okay, that's the vehicle. Got it. All right. Now let's go into diagnosis, control unit, body, WCM. Okay, so we're in the WCM. All right, so now what let's look at the codes. All right, there's our code. So those are the codes that we had. Okay, so let's go back out of that. We can try to erase them. Let's see what happens. All right, we still have a mismatch on the VIN. Okay, not a problem. Go to special function. And we want to reset ECU. Do not put reset WIN configuration. Do not do that. Reset ECU. All right. Let it do its thing. It's been reset. Okay. So we're going to hit OK. We're going to cycle the key. Key back on. We're going to go out of this. We're going to read codes again. We're going to see if it won't erase that. All right. Let's see if it's turned that light off now. And happy days. We no longer have a security light on. The engine's running. No fault codes in the system anymore. So we're good. So now this thing, older Chryslers, a lot of them you could just put the VIN in the PCM and it was fine. And there's some that you got to go a little more in depth than this one. It just depends on the system that's in it. So in this case, pretty straightforward. You got this, pretty straightforward. I'm sure Top Don is going to be very, very close to doing the same thing, but this one's good to go. We're going to drive it around some. We're going to, like I said, this thing was an intermittent no start, but it was really, really consistent. I mean, we couldn't start it more than just maybe a couple of times. I can tell you right now, just in the amount of time it's run here, because it would only run for a very short time and then it would shut off. Not a security issue. It wasn't like it was running and shutting off because of a security issue. It was running and then it was just shutting off. So, so we're good. This car's fixed. We're going to drive it. We're going to make sure everything's fine with it. We're going to clean it up and we're going to return it to the client. So I hope this helped. All right, guys, we got this one done. I hope you liked the video. I hope you like seeing it all the way through like that. If you do, let us know down in the comments. Give us a thumbs up. Hit that notification bell. And hit that subscribe button. It really helps us out. We're growing, we're getting out there, so hit that subscribe button. Again, thanks for watching. Any questions, any comments, see something that I did that you would do different, let us know. We read every single comment, I promise you. We try to respond to as many as we possibly can. So obviously we're running the shop and we're doing videos and we're doing a lot of stuff going on, but we do read it. I promise you we read every single comment. So thanks again for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.